I might be able to do this. Okay, so evil didn't come. Okay. It didn't come. Okay, let's talk about just God, okay? Let's take the one theory at a time. And the theory is that the Bible is a historical reference. Every other literature, that has been presented as factual, not a play, not something of fake, not dress up, whatever. Everything that has been documented as the Bible was also documented has been taken at face value as a documentation, as a representation, as the truth of history, as they saw it at the time. That being said, that's the first thing, is that we deny that. If I read that so-and-so built the Eiffel Tower, I don't question it. But if I read that Noah built the ark, I do. What's the difference? Just think about that for a minute. Now, moving on. Let's say the Book of Enoch that was taken out by the Catholics, or the Catholic, the Vatican, or whatever. I think that's what we look at. It tells us the story of the fallen. The fallen is a very important story to mankind because it explains all of the things. It tells us about the origins, even though the Bible hits on it. But the Book of Enoch really hits home on it. It talks about how when we went further, or were forced even to go further with these demons, these demigods, these fallen, these watchers, that we were so much more corrupted than we are now, like we couldn't stand anymore. So that extra DNA, like we got half, and they're all. So when we mate, then what? It's a very big deal, right? It's a lot. It's a lot of evil in there. And because when they came down, they're pure evil, so they're purebred evil, right? Now, what created evil? What created the desire in mankind to be shitty? Instant gratification. Well, there's a lot of things that come with it. There's many rewards that come with being an asshole. There's many rewards that come with being shitty. There's many rewards. Many, many. Now, the more diabolical ones, the ones that don't have like a monetary gain or something of land or whatever, those would be your emotionally based types, or your more sick individual. But no more sick than you're capable of becoming. Now, let's keep that real. As sick as Hannibal Lecter is, when he eats people and talks to police and all that stuff, there is absolutely no good reason that you couldn't end up exactly the way he is. We are all capable and incapable of exactly the same shit. So if you want your one thing, that's what it is. Nobody's any better and nobody's any worse. It's hard to live in a world that you feel like you're better than everybody else all the time, but you're not. You're not good. You're not. You may feel good most of the time, but you're not good. Because at any given moment, you are capable, and you are. Your being, your essence, your complete corrupted self is capable of doing the most heinous and disgusting things just like any other fucking crappy serial killing machine. Now, you prevent yourself from doing that. There's a reason for that too. But let's start with the evil in man. We were innocent in the garden. We didn't have worries. We didn't have competition. We didn't have a lot of things because we were innocent and we were like little children. Like little children, we are curious. And there's nothing wrong with being curious. God recognizes that. He says, I give you that ability to go and explore. And so I don't want you to go away from me, and I don't want you to do those things, but I know you're probably gonna. So I'm going to send my son so that you have a way back home. Which is essentially himself, obviously. Okay, but we're going too far. So you want to know where evil comes from. When the devil began to feel jealousy towards human beings, that was not God's creation. It may fall under God's creation to some degree, but it is not God's creation. It is the lack of God that created evil. The lack of God and the desire to not do his bidding is what created evil. Because you're thinking, and I'm thinking of God as this judgmental thing for some gain that we can only understand in our own selves. We don't know how corruptible heaven really is. We don't know how it could shatter into a million pieces if there was something horrible there. I know they war there. I know the angels like to do that. There's 7 levels and all that stuff. But it's all in good fun, you know? I think Michael is depicted as something that loves to battle. That's what he's designed to do. So he loves it, you know? And we are designed to, well, what are we designed to do? Are we designed to work 9 to 5? Are we designed? We literally are not designed to fit into and do anything. And yet everything. Because we are the ones that facilitate that right. What we decide as a collective and as an individual becomes our purpose. If we become purposeful only in the lack of our acknowledgement of our Creator, what does the lack of God create? Evil. So, inevitably, the world becomes more and more evil. The more we deny our creation and our real Father, the truth of the whole matter, nothing else that's ever been written and that has ever been said or that has ever been believed is more accurate and less, let's put it this way, there's nothing in the Bible that can be proven wrong because it hasn't been proven wrong. And yet there's so many things in there that have been proven right. Like they found a 60 by 60 or whatever cubits boat thingy on top of a fucking mountain. So that is verifying 2 things. It's verifying that there was a 60 cubit by 60 cubit or whatever it was boat. That happens to be the same exact measurements as Noah, who would have been the only person alive and the other things in that vessel alive. And there's a big explanation as to how those animals all fit. So if it's one of a species, you can do other things with that after. But it makes it a lot smaller of a number. So like one primate, right? One whatever it was. So it's not a Chihuahua and a bull mastiff, but it was a wolf or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but I'm not going to get too much into that because I'm not going to explain that part. But what created evil in us? It wasn't curiosity, because when she bit the apple, she knew she was sinning. Bringing it to Adam was kind of not nice. I'm pretty sure she didn't really tell him what it was, although she may have. I can't remember, and that's ridiculous. I can't remember right now. But regardless, what happened is Adam decided to hide from God. And like they were buddies before that, you know, like they got each other. They were hanging out. They were bros. They were on the same wavelength. They could hear each other. They didn't need to pray or get down on it. They were always there. This thing that you were talking about where people don't need to talk, and that's the only time that was good, and that was needed, and that was something that we were allowed to keep. After that, when we started worshiping all of these demigods from the fallen and putting sacrifices to them, that's when shit got real. And that's when we were given different languages and different ethnicities and different places on earth and disconnected from one another because we were being stupid, feeding Baal babies, and these things were insatiable. They were impossible to fill up. All the lambs were gone. All the firstborn are getting fucking chewed, and these sacrifices were evil. They were mean. But they brought with them so many things. Prosperity of all types and sizes. Good crops. Sacrifice a one for the whole type of thing. So people get mad. They say, I would never give my son up. Listen, it was to be the last sacrifice. Because this was a popular doing, and it seemed to work. But this was to be the last sacrifice. No more of that. Because it is not getting anybody anywhere. And it's not very nice. But that sacrifice was given to us for the reasons that we know today, because we can't stop sinning. So, the idea is that while we're here, right, that we at least try, and that we have a mindset that we're going to not get into ourselves, not become all about what we believe and what we think and to leave that to Him, because we honor knowledge over God. We honor all kinds of things over God. And yet all things mean nothing without Him. It doesn't mean you have to sit there and be ignorant. It just means you have to use discernment, and you have to check yourself while you're doing the things that you're doing. Is it okay to have sex? No, not before marriage. You're going to do it anyway? Most likely. Are you going to hell for it? Maybe, but possibly not. Depends on if you feel, and it doesn't mean you have to feel shame over everything, but what you can feel is within your own concept, to be humbled that you don't know everything. You don't know why that could be taken to the next level. Think about it. Everyone's having a really great time, right? Blah, blah, blah. Hippie Fest 90 fucking million, right? And yeah, free love. It's good for a while. Everything's good for a while. It's when it gets to that point where people are having, weird ideas, and they're putting children involved in it, and like that's what's going on. So it's the aptitude to corrupt it, these good things. So He wants us to have good things, but He wants us to stay within our own ability to not corrupt it as much as we can. So these guidelines and these commandments and these rules are not meant to punish us or to keep us suppressed or to make us mortal and terrible and boring. It is to make us stay at least in our own lane, because we're weaving out as it is. We need something to put to our minds that, okay, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right. Innately, you know, to some degree, what's wrong and right because of a compass inside of you. But you have the choice to go against that compass whenever you want. And that is valued as a high regard. So technically, our freedom to do so gives us license to be evil. But it's up to us to choose not to be. And so far, we haven't done that. And we, everyone's like, well, he's such a, is he really not patient? How many fucking thousands of years has it been? Are we getting any closer to being more or less interested in our home, in living in a place that cannot tolerate sin? It can't do that. It can't sustain, perhaps, sin. Perhaps it just defiles it so bad that it would come in on itself, and the whole entire existence of existence and even God itself might disappear because of it. And that's how much he loves us. He loves us so much that he trusts us so much with even the most serious and important task of trying to stay loyal, committed, and to experience goodness once again without the need for bad. There has never been any need for balance. We were perfectly fine without fucking balance before. And we can return to that. But we've got it in our head that good won't feel as good unless we've experienced bad. It does help, I guess. Knowing it's all going to end makes it a little bit more precious, perhaps. But death isn't something that we should have aspired to. And when we were innocent there, when we were innocent before Adam hid from God, before she took a bite of it, before, and again, why can't evil stop then? Well, if we are Satan's children as much as we are God's children, since that decision was made, because we're sons of Adam and we're sons of God, after that, prior to that, we were simply sons of God. Now, with the devil having domain over the earth, because we chose that. You want to try to corrupt them, Satan, Lucifer, whatever? Go ahead. Go ahead. But at the end of this little experiment, Mr. Satanic, Mr. Sir, what's going to happen to you is you will be done. And I loved you. I loved you. And you were made for a purpose, and you defiled and went against that purpose. You had a job to do, and you decided you did not want to do it. And so instead, you decided you were going to hurt my children. And you were going to bring in all of your demonic forces to do so as well. And they, to a degree, seem to be okay with that. Every time we get invested with magic, soothsaying, mediumship, talking to the dead, all that stuff. When we do that, we're opening portals, portal after portal after portal. And the reason God hates it is because it is corrupting and making a more powerful place for these Nephilim to come into. I've seen them in person. I know what they are. I had a spiritual awakening that was quite real, right? Visit, and very weird. It began with a moth. And it wasn't, okay, I'm not going to say it wasn't divinely guided, because I think he knows in the end that that whole experience was a very vital one for me to recapture in my soul again. But I predicted Adam's death. I predicted Rob's death. I predicted Melissa's death. And I predicted Clint's death. I didn't predict, I didn't predict Rob's death. It was, that was a shock. That was totally a shock. That was my best friend, the black guy that was my son's godfather, really. He was stabbed to death on the street. All these things that were happening right after one another. So, Melissa, I predicted Amber, Adam's sister. I saw things in this time frame that would make most people weep when they saw it, but I wasn't scared. Except for once, I got the heebie-jeebies from this little creep outside the window. But people scared me more because they're a little bit more powerful. I didn't know Jesus then, and I didn't know God. But they were hanging around. And there was no push, and there was no prove it to me first, and then I will believe in you, or prove it to me first, and then I'm lucky enough that whatever. I came to these conclusions on my own to look up and to go to the source of the Bible and to start asking questions about Christianity again. And the reason I did that is because with every other motherfucking anything, any spiritual blah blah or any religion, whatever it is, if you keep asking why long enough, you'll get to the end. But with Christianity and Judaism, I could not. I could not. With the Quran, it was easy. Boom, done. Disclosed and disproved right off the hop. That shit is so fake, it's stupid. But it's captivated billions. And for some weird reason or another, we find ourselves in a situation where there is very, very likely going to be a massive surge of people transitioning to Muslim, and a lot of violence that's going to come with that. It's gonna get real, and it's already started, and it's all been prophesized. And the Luciferians of the world, the evil Zionist elite Illuminati, yes sir, it's a thing, know these plans too, and have made their own. And much of what they have tried to accomplish, they have. And how could they be so interested in doing all of this if it wasn't true? Because it goes on and on and on, generation after generation after generation, until they reach their goals. And their goals are all the things that we think we should be afraid of. They will, and they have, corrupted further the human race. It's like that movie, The Never-Ending Story, and that wolf that's helping the nothing. I'm going to think of the terrorist organizations right now as that wolf. But the true nothing is the inability to reach out without being uncomfortable, and to be really real about it, and to truly face it and believe in it, because it's logical to do so. It's been documented. Things that shouldn't be found were found. The shroud, the ark, The blood in the ground. The fact that Jesus' blood only carries one, it's only got maternal DNA. What the fuck? Where is Jesus' blood? Exactly where the Romans said it would be, because they recorded all the things. And when they went into the ground, they knew that this is the place because all that blood spilled there. Can they get blood out of there? Yes, they can. Have they proven now that there was a flood? Yes, sir. Is the Euphrates River drying up? Yes, sir. We want to believe in tarot and magic and all of these things and whatever, but we don't give credit to the more fantastical stories of the Bible.